That being said, Bisping said in a pre-fight, a little interview that he had going on, Dennis Kang better be 100%. Or Dennis Kang better have trained well because he's coming at him 100%. Does that kind of sound a little bit like what he said? Maybe a little less cocky, but does that kind of sound like what he said about Dan Henderson? Dennis Kang's had just as many, if not more, fights than Dan Henderson. Not saying he's got a better chin. Dan Henderson's got a granite chin. I don't care what anybody says. You could block that. You could throw a brick at that guy's face, and he'll laugh at you. I mean, that dude just has a chin. But and you know what? Even though Joe Rogan said it best when he said, you know what, a lot of people in America don't know about Dennis Kang. I don't know that much about Dennis Kang. I've heard of him years ago, but he hasn't been around. He's been on cards that I haven't known nothing about, which, like I said, I'm going to throw this out there again. I've been into this and liked this a lot since '93, but I've really been following it religiously since probably 2003. So there's probably a 10-year span where I haven't really been into it big time, you know what I mean? So, of course, I've been sticking with you know, what's happening in the UFC or whatever. Obviously, Strikeforce is cutting through a little bit now and kind of getting some more mainstream now, which I think is amazing and awesome, because if you got one company trying to monopolize the whole fight game, they don't have to pay the fighters diddly. I mean, seriously, if you got two companies battling for a fighter, like they're doing with Dan Anderson right now, Dan Anderson has a standing offer from UFC, and from what I hear, he's got an offer from Strikeforce as well. And it's like, well, you know, there's been talk about, well, Dan Anderson's already signed with Strikeforce. Well, that's been disputed too. Some people are like, you know what, no, he hasn't. Even Dan himself said, no, I haven't. But I think Dan's going with Strikeforce, I think. And you know what? That's a huge win for Strikeforce. And I think it's great because it sets a precedent, it sets a standard in MMA fighting, period, that, you know what, if you don't pay, because, you know, come on, everybody's heard it. At UFC, fighters don't get paid enough. Unless you're a champion for, whatever, holding your belt a year, you don't get paid what you need to get paid. You know, I think all athletes, period. I mean, outside of MMA, I think all athletes get paid way too much. I mean, you're talking about a whatever, 3-year contract for playing hockey for $17 million. Are you friggin' crazy? That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. The president, nobody deserves that kind of money, in my opinion. But, you know, yeah, they work hard, sure. I work hard too. Do I need $17 million? No. F no. But anyway, outside of the park here again. But Kang's going to take this match. It's in my opinion. I think Kang's going to take this match. I think Bisping's going to be knocked down another level. And if Bisping pulls this out, because this is in Bisping's hometown, if Bisping pulls this out, it's going to be by a thread. And if it's by any more than a thread, he'll probably still get it because it's in his hometown, and he's been the poster boy, which I don't know why. Oh, jeez, Daly. I keep wanting to say John Daly. It's another Daly. Just knocked a block off out of Martin Kampmann. That guy should be the new poster boy for the UK. Period. I think Dennis Kang's going to take this match. And if Dennis don't, I'm going to be really surprised, because I don't think Bisping is to the level of a Dennis Kang yet. I really don't. He's not to the level of a Dan Henderson. He's not to the level of... I think that Bisping would have a hard time with Chuck Liddell. I mean, anybody that's seen any blogs of mine, I don't have much faith in Chuck Liddell anymore, period. You know what, Bisping might be, like I said in the beginning of the little blog about Bisping might prove me wrong, because Bisping has a lot of coming back to do, and he might have that hunger again, which he says he does, but you know, that remains to be seen. So, but moving on to the main event, Brandon Vera versus Randy Couture. So Brandon Vera versus Randy Couture tells me that Brandon Vera has got a lot to make up in the MMA world. Randy Couture is coming off of 2 losses. The last fight was to Nogueira, and the fight before that was to Brock Lesnar. So Randy Couture is coming off of 2 losses. Brandon Vera, I think, is coming off of 2 wins. I think. Don't quote me on that. I haven't paid much attention to Brandon Vera because I pretty much, you know, was kind of done with him, you know. And I had my attention was drawn this way at some other fighters, and I wasn't too worried about Brandon Vera. But Brandon Vera is still very dangerous, very good fighter. And I think Randy Couture's got his hands full, and I think that if Brandon Vera lands the right punch that he has in the past with Couture, he could probably put Couture on his back. And if you put Couture on your back, you know, like I've said in the past too, if you put Couture on his back, chances are you probably will get the knockout if you're able to launch the right attack or whatever. You know, and like I said in the past, I'm not comparing Brandon Vera to Brock Lesnar by any means, or a Nogueira, but you know, Brock Lesnar knocked out Randy Couture because of Randy Couture's chin, and I know Brandon Vera is a very good puncher. He has the power to knock out Randy Couture. Nogueira won a decision because I don't think Nogueira really has the punching power. He's got great punching, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he has the punching power to take out Randy Couture. Or to finish a Randy Couture, I should say. But Brandon Vera also has mild, not as bad as Randy, but a mild questionable chin, because we've seen him get knocked the F out too. So, that being said, I think it's going to be a really close match. It's going to be a good fight. You know, and I've kind of ragged on this card, you know, which it should be a free card. It should be a free card. Because, I mean, let's face it, it's really not that great of a card. But if you look at it as a free card, it's pretty good, you know. And we only got a week to wait for UFC 106. Who cares? I'll say it again. But, you know, there actually is. There's a main event as far as I'm concerned, but it ain't Tito versus Griffin. No, I'm looking forward to Frank Mir versus Chet Congo. That's going to be a badass matchup. You know what? Frank Mir better come ready, because as far as I'm concerned, man, Congo looked badass against Velasquez. He almost had Velasquez knocked the F out. Period. Tell me if I'm wrong. Chime in, whatever. I appreciate you coming out and taking a look here. If you like it, like I said, hit the subscribe button. If you like what you're seeing, go to the page, our main page here. Take a look, man. Because there's a lot of stuff I want to touch on this. There's a lot of stuff we could do at the other page that we can't do at YouTube. So, you want to check out our main page. I think we got 90 fights on there. You know, 90 videos anyway. Videos, either fights or post-fight interviews, pre-fight interviews. All right, but join us. You know, we're on that page. Like I said, it's right down here. So, take a look at it, man. Tell me what you think. If you think it sucks, you know, tell me that too. You know, hit the subscribe button, like I said, and I'll see you on the homepage too. Thanks.